Hi guys, I've been working on a leather project here for this knife I got, this nice cold steel Laredo Bowie knife. It's a '01 tool steel. It's a very nice knife. And it just had this cheap Kydex type sheath, high impact polymer, I forget what it's called, but I wanted to make a leather one. I've tried my hand at some leather sheaths before. I've made one, but it was a simple one. I wanted to try a little more ornate, or at least some simple tooling on the leather, so I have the main piece in here in a clamp. It's all glued up. You can't really see, but the sheath's in there. And first of all, here's the pattern. All this stuff I've learned just from other people, what I've seen them do. But basically what you want to do is you want to have a piece of paper that fits the blade of your knife. Something big enough. I had to tape on a little extra because it's a long blade. So you want to fit the blade of your knife, your paper, because you're putting your pattern. And then you want to add a little extra. And the extra part you add in, that's called the welt. That'll be a strip of leather, and that'll be wherever you're going to stitch. So if I was just to fold this like a taco and stitch only on one side, I would only need the extra on this side. But since I'm stitching on both sides of the blade of the sheath, I need to add this, it's about a 1/2 inch all around, because that's where my stitching is going to go. That's where I'm going to stitch, so I need space. And then I also have, this is the belt loop. This stitches onto the back, and then a strap comes from back here and swings on top to snap. This is the pattern. This is the leather part of it. And then this is the part that snaps in. It just slides right in here. And I actually have another spacer right here that goes, it stitches to both of these to hold it in place. If I can do this while also holding the camera. There we go. It goes like that. And then it'll snap down on top of the knife when it's slid in. For the working of the leather, I just used some of these tools right here. I don't know what it's called. First, I scribed a line using this compass. You get your line right here that you want. I set it just a little larger or farther away than what would be my stitch line. That way I would have a little space, because I'm staining the whole thing brown and then the edges black to give it a two-tone color. This is the same black that it's going to be. I think that'll look nice. So you scribe your line right along right here. Oh, you adjust this. That way it fits, and you scribe your line. Then you cut in with, I think this is like a leather carving knife. You cut in along that line to make it deeper. And then you get your mallet and you pound in these marks. No, that's the wrong one. It fits in right there. You can see that's the same size. And you just, it takes a little bit of time, but you go all the way around. And I also did this on the front piece of my knife sheath. This is just the belt loop. I thought I'd do it the same. And also, to help finish up the leather, this is after you've cut it out. You want to use this tool right here, and it carves the hard corner, so it's not a sharp corner. Kind of rounds off the edge, carves off a little strip of leather. Then this tool right here this marks where I'm going to stitch, and that's how I did this line right here. And I'm not going to stitch in here, otherwise I would have used this little roller, and it'll go along if you press it when the leather is wet. Yeah, before you do any of the stamping on the leather, if you wet it, then it'll take a mark. So make sure you don't scratch it when it's wet or put any marks, because that'll stay in the leather. And then once it's finished, you would let it dry. That way it doesn't take any marks when you keep working. But you could make marks with this roller. It has little points so that you know where to poke your holes and stitch, which I did do on my the main body of the sheath, which it's in my clamp jig right here. And then for the strap, I did a similar thing. I scribed lines, this time smaller with this, did a thin one, and use the this little swivel stamp piece and just went along to put a nice pattern. And then after that I just stained this black and this brown, you can see. And so this is the first part of making the sheath, or at least my first part of the video. Got caught up. I meant to do a video in between, but got a little busy actually making it. The hardest part is planning it out. So if you try to make a sheath, make sure you think in your mind what the order you're going to do is, because once you stitch something together, if I started stitching this, I would no longer be able to really work on it and stamp in my design, because then it would be folded there and stitched. So make sure you know what your order is. Oh, and for the belt loop here, the part where it's going to fold, I've seen someone do this. They the tool that makes the groove for your stitching, and they went several times, at least 2 or 3 lines here. That way when it folds for the belt loop, because it's a pretty thick material there, that way it'll have a nicer bend. And I also plan to wet this and bend it and let it sit. That way it'll take that nice bend, because I want it to be permanently folded, even though it's gonna be stitched, but to hold that nice fold. And that's the basics of what got me to where I am right now. I hope you see part 2.